Aloha, guys. Welcome back to the Strike Twice Running podcast. We're your hosts, Hunter, Trey, and Ray. I just got back from Hawaii, so I'm feeling the tropical vibes still, but sadly, I'm in North Dakota again. But so I'm rocking the tropical vibes. Trey and Ray, how are you guys doing?
Doing good. I wish I had a background like that going on. I have my like empty shelf here because I've been doing like some crazy spring, cleaning in my house. That's pretty much the highlight of the past few weeks for me.
Yeah, good over here too. Not tropical, but it's been really nice. 70s, so I'm not gonna complain about that ever. Yeah, just been trying to catch some baseball games and trying to stay warm. It's been, yeah, really nice. So, um, I know since the last time we talked, we've all had a couple of random weeks in different directions. So there's kind of some catching up to do here and there. So.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit kind of a jumbled episode. We don't have one overarching theme. We kind of got just some news stories here and there, and just some Trey's got a gear dump for us from Run Club. So let's just dive right into it, guys. Tomorrow is the NFL draft, and as a Broncos fan in desperate need of a quarterback, I am very invested in the NFL draft tomorrow, and it's just an exciting time for the NFL football world, and we still have several months till football season, so it's like our one event in between that kind of gets us there. So I'm excited. So I have a little draft day challenge for you guys. Obviously, this is a running podcast. So we have to make it towards running. So I'm going to list off three runners, and you have to tell me who would be your number one pick in your ultra running draft. You guys ready? Number
Ready.
number one in no particular order, we got Jim Walmsley, legend. We have Courtney DeWalter, also legend, and a newcomer, Jasmine Paris, who as we know, was the first woman to complete the Barkley Marathons. So I'll give you a second to think about it. Trey, I'll defer to you. Who is your number one pick and why?
A lot of me wants to say Jim Walmsley because he spent some time in Great Falls. He's not a Montana guy, but he spent some time there. Um, but honestly, as soon as you said Courtney, I was like, that's it right there. She is just. Uh, I think I've listened to every YouTube video, podcast, interview that she has done just because uh, she's just fascinating in the running world. She's fascinating to listen to because she simplifies it to the point of like, yeah, you kind of just do it. And so it's really fun to listen to her take on it. And I don't think there's probably not a and uh, more humble runner out there with that much success, but at the same time, um, she also pushes that boundary like just insane. She pushes the boundary to a pretty ridiculous extent, as far as what she's breaking the records, on like the Tahoe 200. Was hours. She broke the record by hours, and she talks about. My favorite interview is when she's talking about the 60-second nap on that run, and it was literally she took the 60-second nap, and she said it was the best thing, like it was the best sleep she's ever gotten. So anyone with that sort of mindset and just kind of, I think just her almost like childlike enthusiasm with being semi new to running when she had kind of started and really kind of found a lot of success, through her own way. And she's just kind of stayed really true to herself and the way she likes to run and what works for her. And I love that. I think it's great. I think it's doing really, really cool things in the running world. So, I think she'd be my number one overall if I had to take one.
I don't know if you
Good
can,
answer.
I don't know if you can argue with that. That's a pretty solid first pick.
Yeah, so before you listed the names, in my mind, that's who I was like, I hope you say Courtney, because that's who I'm gonna go with. Um, I mean, to echo everything you said, but she just seems like such a rad person, you know, just someone that I would just love to, because the things but sticks out in my mind is, her eating nachos or something and just down to earth person. Like it's just, yeah, I would love to just sit down and talk with her, to be honest. But that's kind of the same thing that I came across with Jasmine. So I'm a little bit torn from all the things I was reading, of just she just kind of does it her own way. And I find that really just motivating and how she just gets up, does her little, hour to an hour and a half run every day and doesn't really push the envelope all that much. And then she goes out and does these races and kind of like what with Courtney, where she's breaking records here and there too, where it's almost like following the footsteps in a way. And she's from Scotland, and I just love that accent. So that song was like just some points for me. Um, yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Jasmine because it's like kind of gone with like a rookie in a way. I'm gonna go that route.
I love that because for one, like the Barkley Marathons, we talked about it for a whole hour. We decided, it's a beast all its own. But Lazarus Lake himself said that he was asked if he ever thought a woman would be able to finish it, and he said no. He straight up said no. And so it's just kind of like one of those. It's like the 2 hour marathon barrier. It's one of those things that just didn't really think was possible, and she did it. So that I mean, that's a tough one. We got some studs on this list, just the three of them. You look at, I mean, UTMB is kind of that measuring stick for the best ultra runners in the world, and two of the three are winners of UTMB. Jim Walmsley won it in 2023, and Courtney DeWalter won it in 23. So, I mean, you look at Jim Walmsley, I guess, and Courtney. So this is hard because I'm just arguing against myself. I feel like, but I mean, Jim Walmsley is so dominant, in the United States, and then he's like, oh well, I guess I'll just uproot my entire life and go live in. He's living in France, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I mean, and then just to go out and go compete and win UTMB. I mean, that's a hard pick. Um, just to be different, I'll go Jim Walmsley. Our good buddy Mike, he competed against Jim Walmsley in high school, so kind of got a soft spot for Jim Walmsley. But I can't argue against your picks either because both Courtney and Jasmine are incredible in their own ways, and I'd say Jasmine's kind of that rookie dark horse pick because I'd really be curious to see head to head against her and Courtney DeWalter. I think that would be pretty dang fantastic. And then as I was thinking about it, the list gets longer. You have people. The other really dark horse guy that I was thinking about was Adam Peterman, a Montana native, because he won
Yeah.
Western States, right?
Yeah, it's funny because you say it like, dark horse, but uh in all reality, he's a freak. He broke like I think three different course records on the way to the Western States that were like, you know, um 50Ks and 50 milers and then 100Ks and what, and he broke a couple of course records on the way to that. And then he I think in an interview he even talked about he wasn't going to do Western States that year. He said maybe he's like, I don't know if I'm ready. Maybe I'll train up and get ready for next year. And then he's like, well, I'd rather get the course knowledge and then I'll know what kind of shape I have to be in next year. And then he goes out and wins it. And it's like, yeah, I don't care how, like, I don't care how good or bad, you think you are, or you think that day was. Like, winning the Western States is something that's like, as far as running goes, it's like, yeah, that's one you hang on the wall for forever as like as kind of a benchmark of like, okay, well, that was, that had to feel like a definite peak in certain aspects, and which is cool because it was kind of the, early on in his ultra. Uh, and I don't know if I'm correct on this, but that might have been his first 100. when he ran that.
He
It
was.
I
it
think
might have been his first sanctioned 100, but I might be wrong on that. I might be misremembering that. But either way, I ran against him. I was old enough to have run against him in high school, and um, got to see him run really crazy down in Idaho for the Nike Cross Regional. That was a lot of fun. And yeah, never knew him. Didn't ever compete like alongside him or anything. We were at some of the same races, but we were in different classes in high school and different classes of runner too. I don't think it would have mattered if we were in the same race. He's always been pretty legit, but he and his wife both, I think, are running for Hoka now. Um, so it's just kind of, I was waiting for his name to pop up on the list because he was going to be my pick, just because Southwest Montana, it's good to see somebody out representing out there. And I know like, uh, Mr. Foot is also over there in Missoula for North Face, and yeah, they got all, and that's he's, I believe, the director for the Big Sky, the relay race, the Big Sky relays, that relay race on the mountain bike course. So yeah, there's, you know, it's when you look at it as a whole, there's like a couple of really big front runners always. So in distance running, everybody seems like a dark horse if they aren't, you know, in the top whatever. But then you see people just show up and just shatter these records that no one's ever heard of, and you're like, "What is going on, dude?" So it's
yeah.
crazy, crazy. But
Well, I think we made our draft pretty easy though, because we all picked different people. We're going home happy after that draft. But
I think everybody's a winner in that. Everybody's a winner in that draft. I don't know about the actual draft. I don't know how that's going to go. The Vikings have a great reputation for messing up the draft, but we're I don't know. A lot of speculation on who they're going to take, and I can already feel my chest just getting tight as the day goes on. I'm like, oh, here we go. So I don't know. I'm with you there. The Broncos and the Vikings have had some similar past in getting some really great draft picks and then not building a team around them, or drafting some terrible terrible picks. And yeah, we'll see what shakes there. But
both the Broncos and the Vikings are in perfect trade up territory. I've heard a lot of speculation that the Vikings are going to trade up
mhm.
and maybe look at like JJ McCarthy, which I think would be a good pick. Um, I think Minnesota is a good landing spot for a quarterback. I think Denver as well, but I'm excited. I think there's going to be some serious quarterback chaos because I think there's saying that there's probably going to be 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round, which I think would
It'd be insane.
be yeah, because I think 1, 2, 3 are going to be quarterbacks, and then probably 5, and then who knows after that. But it's I've been following it pretty closely this year, more than other years, just because the Broncos need a quarterback so bad, and they signed Zach Wilson, but I think they signed him to be a solid backup. That's my hope. I hope they still draft a quarterback because they need it bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Vikings aren't going to be able to sustain on throwing 4 interceptions a game. So we definitely have to pick somebody up, and I don't know if old Sam Darnold's going to be the ticket. So they only signed him to a 1 year, which is like that kind of tells you they're picking up a quarterback for sure. But it sucks to lose a guy like Kirk Cousins, but with the Achilles, you just never know. And good for him for going and making money. His agent belongs in the Hall of Fame. That dude is his agent has negotiated some insane contracts. So uh, I don't know. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens tomorrow. That's going to be an interesting first round, and then I think all the hype with the first round. After that, I don't know. The viewing is probably going to drop off by 50% after the first round because everyone's like, all right, we got all the big names out of the way. I'm not surprised by anything after this. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm a Rams guy, so but to be honest, I really haven't followed a lot last year. So you had to let me know how what happens tomorrow. Keep me updated.
I'll either be very happy or very disappointed. There's going to be no in between on their first pick. If they pick any other position other than a quarterback, I'm going to be very, very, very disappointed. So,
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. I'm with you there. So, a lot of speculation. I'm just ready for it to be over. I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm just ready for it to be done. I want to be able to sleep at night. So,
yeah, me too. So that's our draft spectacular. We'll see if we're excited or not looking forward to another dismal season next year. But either way, we'll come down and see a Trey and go to a Broncos game. We'll hopefully see him with a starting quarterback this time because I've been down there twice to see Russell Wilson play, and both times he was not playing. So one of these times, I will see a starting quarterback in Denver.
when's the next time Denver plays Pittsburgh? Maybe you can see Russell Wilson start a game not in a Broncos.
I think they actually play this year, so that'd be a cool game to see. But it's already stressing me out. You're already getting me stressed out.
Yeah, we gotta get away from this. It's gonna consume me.
We'll move, we'll move on.
Yeah, so I got a news story for you, and we've talked about it for a couple different episodes now of people cheating in marathons and half marathons and stuff. Yet again, we have another cheating scandal in the running world. So I don't know if this is like a new trend that people are trying, or if this is people have been cheating this much and we just are now aware of it. I don't know, but there was in the Beijing half marathon. So we're on another continent now. We haven't seen it in the U.S. yet in our podcast. We've been in London and now we're in Beijing. So hopefully we're not in the United States next episode. But I'll just show you the video and kind of give you guys a chance to digest it because I watched the video just raw without even knowing what the news article was, and I was like, that doesn't look quite right. So I'll just share it with you guys real quick. And so I'll try to make it bigger. Here's our, wait a minute, I'll add some sound.
好，差不多1小时4分左右的水平。还有最后的一段路，终点就在前方，小姐加油！是的，我们看4个人很有默契啊。对，在今天的这个全程当中，这4个人都是一直保持在一起。是的，而且有沟通，有交流。这样是不是也是选手之间的一种相互促进？是的，我们说积极的一种促进。哇，越跑越快啊！和谐在最后是完全冲刺了起来。
Start asking questions.
I saw this. I watched that video already. And like what you just said, that without even the context, it's kind of like what's going on there? Because it looks like one guy with like three pacers. That's
I thought they were pacers, but
yeah.
they're not. They're competitors that were in the race. So that changes things.
Right.
So they all just agreed to run the exact same pace and lose by one stride. Like it didn't look like anyone was
It really looked like they had just a
lot more.
lot more in the tank, like a lot more. And all of them, like not even like the winner, but just all of them.
Yeah,
And
God.
even with the one like waving his hand, just I don't know. It's just really interesting. Like I see why they're investigating it because it just doesn't look normal.
I couldn't tell, was he, that's the thing that caught my eye, was like when he was waving, I couldn't tell, was he waving his hand to like, I couldn't tell if he was like waving him forward, like if you're gonna cut in sort of thing. I couldn't tell what was going on there, but it's also such a weird, I mean, they just looked entirely too comfortable in an hour three high is like, that's really good, but most of those guys on the world stage are, you know, splitting a little bit quicker than that. Usually, you know, anywhere between 30 seconds and a minute faster than that. But that's beside the point. Anyway, they just looked like they looked really, really comfortable, and I couldn't quite decipher what the hand was. I have to watch it again later, but I wonder what that's gonna look like as far as did they say why? Did the officials like make a stance on we're investigating because they look like they had pulled up a little bit? Did they? Is there any indication why?
Yeah, the the article the article talks about, for one, they got um they got investigated because the three, I think they were from Africa, those three runners let the guy from China, Hai Ji, I think his name was, they let him win. That's what the investigation was about. So three runners seemed to allow Chinese runner Hai Ji to finish ahead of them. Um, all four runners have been disqualified from that. So it apparently was a pretty short investigation, because I think this only happened a week ago or so.
Yeah.
So yeah, the article says three runners who were in the lead slow their pace subtly, and one motions with his hand for IG to pass them and win the race. So essentially, they gave him the race. The um, I mean, there could be a lot of different reasons for that, but if they were supposed to be pacers, they should have just for one, they should have dropped out way before then. You just
Yeah.
so I'm trying to figure out what exactly the deal was. Um, it looks like one of the Africans, one of their statements were, "I was not there to compete. It was not a competitive race for me." Um, but I don't know. It's just kind of an integrity thing. Um, it said he was there to pace, but they didn't label him as a pacer. I don't know. It's
Yeah, you can't as far as that goes, like obviously they have on the world stage now, they have such strict rules with pacing, um, just because it is so um it's gotten down to such a science now that it's like it's, you know, they have to monitor that so carefully and make sure that that stuff is really um you know, really controlled so that it doesn't get way out of hand, you know, here, there, and everywhere. And so the one thing that kind of sucks about it is like, you know, it seems like they're kind of taking the old guilty until proven innocent approach with it. And, you know, if the three of them, I mean, that's what it looked like. It looked like they were on a training run. It looked like they were doing a half marathon to train for a full, and they looked so comfortable at like an hour and three and some change. It's like, yeah, those guys are trying to go like 2:02 in a
Mhm.
in a full, you know, like that's what a good, or like 2:05 in a full, and they wanted to just get like a good split and see how comfortable that half would be, you know, or something like that, which is like from a coaching perspective, like we used to do that all the time, you know, or from a running perspective, like we used to do that all the time. We would have guys go into a race like, hey, we're going to put four guys into the 5K. Two of the guys have, you know, three events tomorrow. You guys are just running a pacer five. I just want you to get a good race and like a good race effort so you can get a feel for the five. We'll really go hard tomorrow on like the 8 and the 16. whatever, and the relay. And then in 2 weeks, we'll train you up fully. You'll take a weekend off. We'll train you up fully through 2 weeks, and then you'll hit the 5K as hard as you can. So it's like if you were running that and your teammate was right behind you and he was going to like PR and he was going as hard as he could and you were on a training run, you'd be like, yeah, dude, go for it. Like get in, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
in that sense too, it's like there's the integrity side of, yeah, finish the race. Like you're there to win it. But at the same time, like if that's not what the race is for, if you're there to train and this guy is like, this is his whole, like, this could be the best thing that ever happened to him winning this race. It's like, yeah, dude, these guys probably got another race they're training for. Like, so I guess there is, there's the two sides of it where, um, there's no way they sat down before the race and they're like, hey, we know exactly how this is going to feel in 13 miles. We're going to wave you through. And that's when you go. Like, you could definitely see it looks like he's getting a little straighter in the back. Like his hamstrings might have been tightened up just a touch on his kick coming in to win. But, at what point in the race do you lean over and say, hey, dude, like we're just on a pace run here. Like this is a training run. We're going to run hard, but like we have a very set plan for this, and that set plan includes like not all out kicking to the finish for no reason. That's not a training plan. So
Mhm.
at that point, it's like, yeah, we're 200 yards from the finish. It's like, hey, dude, go for it. Like we're not going to kick. You go for it. This is not a sit and kick situation. Like you should just go finish the race. So I guess you can see that side of it too, but um, it doesn't sound like they really were too interested in hearing what they had to say about it. They kind of just were like, well, that's it. You're here. And, um, if they were using it as a training run as well, I wonder what their rules are on Pacers. Cause if Pacers aren't allowed to finish, you'd have to enter as a competitor anyway. So again, at what point do you sit down and talk to each other in the middle of a 13-mile race and say, this is how it's going to go?
Yeah.
It seems like it might have just been a victim of circumstance in terms of like where they were at that point. But I don't know. That's a strange. There's so many sides to it without all the information, like with how little that they released. There's a lot of sides to it. So I wonder. I'm really interested to see kind of what comes of that. I wouldn't be super surprised with some sort of challenge or something to
Right.
maybe try and rectify that if it needs to be rectified. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I just found another article that might clear that up a little bit. It sounds like they were actual Pacers, but they were entered as competitors. So, um, this is a quote from one of the Pacers. It says, "I don't know why they put my name on the bib instead of labeling it as a pacemaker. My job was to set the pace and help the guy win, but unfortunately, he did not achieve the target, which was to break the national record." So it sounds like they were actual Pacers, which they should have been labeled clearly as Pacers. And then um, so what initially came about is looks like allowing somebody to win. It sounds like it could have been an error from the event side
mm,
of things too, because it goes on to say that the committee that investigated apologized for it, and the sports management company that's the main organizer of the race is losing its right to host the Beijing Half Marathon. So that kind of clears things up. It sounds like it was more of a because it says committee found that the main organizers of the race had not been made aware that before the race that the leader would be running with Pacers.
mm. Yeah. So it sounds like they pretty much had that all set, and they did sit down and plan it out because that's exactly what you do with a pacer. And
Right.
then the
Yeah.
event did not give them the correct bib, and so it looked way worse. Looked way worse on the video, but really, like if you knew they were his pacers, that's like the most standard finish to a race you would ever see. So
Well, and two, there could be two sides to that part even too, because the event might not have labeled them correctly, or they failed to let the organizers know that they were actually going to be Pacers. So there could be two sides there. When you're talking about international competitions, there's so many language barriers. Who knows what happened there? But it's still kind of a weird thing because all four of them were disqualified. Obviously, that doesn't matter to the Pacers, but in a way it does because they were given awards and award money because it was a major half marathon. So they're getting their award money taken away, which technically the Pacers shouldn't have gotten any award money in the first place if they were only Pacers. So there's kind of more layers to it now that we've opened it up a little bit more.
Well, even if
Yeah.
just with your name in the future, like your name's going to be involved with that. Not necessarily like it's a terrible reputation, but that's for a moment of time, people will remember that. And that kind of sucks.
Yeah, especially we talk about it all the time how the running world it's blown up in so many good ways, but as far as like true, like real top tier, like upper echelon guys running at that level, it's not that big of a world, like it's not that big of a world. It's like that. Yeah, you're exactly right there, Ray, where that name is now attached to that in some ways. And whatever they prove, you know, left, right, or center, there's always going to be somebody somewhere that's like, I remember that, and it doesn't have to be a good or bad thing, but
Right.
yeah, I wonder what they're going to do with that. But hopefully, like I said, hopefully they can kind of get all the info and get that straightened out, because that's got to be a terrifying feeling if you did have all your ducks in a row and you did all the right things and you kind of had the race of your career, and then they're gonna try and pull that on a maybe some misinformation or miscommunication or something there. So hopefully that's all straightened out. You said you saw that, Ray? You did see that video, or did you read the article?
No, I saw the article and watched it. Well, I've watched the video too, yeah. But I think it was middle of last week. It just popped up on my phone, and so I watched it and everything and kind of read the article, but maybe I would say like skim through the article, but yeah, I kept seeing just little updates and headlines about, the winner being disqualified and whatnot, and never saw an update, but I never really took the time to look too. So kind of closing that today. So that's good.
Well, and whoever actually got second place now is jacked because he went from actually, whoever got fifth technically is now the winner of that race.
Hmm.
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine that if the investigating body had to issue an apology and the race coordinator or the company that put on the race is no longer allowed to host it, I would say that's a pretty decent admission of wrongdoing. I couldn't imagine that they wouldn't give him back the first place. But yeah, I don't know. It sounds like they might just say sorry, have a good one, but I hope that's not the case. That'd be terrible if they admitted to the whole thing and then they're like, "We'll just I don't know, you'll do great next year. I'm proud of you. I can't wait to see you next year." Like, that would suck. That'd be terrible. Um, I don't know.
Yeah.
Weird thing. You know, and this is could be taken in a negative way. I don't mean it that way, but my initial thoughts when I first saw the first video and it was like, oh, the Beijing half marathon was rigged and they rigged the winner. I was like, if that was going to happen anywhere in the world, that would probably happen in Beijing. I just pictured it like I could see that happening in Beijing or in Russia. I just pictured that area. The Russians would do that for sure. They've been banned from the Olympics time and time again from doping, PEDs and all that. So when I first saw it, I was like, I was not shocked that that was at least a possibility of being true initially. Which I don't mean that in a negative way, but I think both of those areas don't have the best reputation with those kind of things.
Well, I think the biggest thing with running right now is that running in general at any level where there's starting to be more money involved, it's starting to come out. And it doesn't matter where it is, you just kind of follow the money. And unfortunately, a lot of the larger paying races are going to be in, North America and Europe. And so it's one of those things where, yeah, you kind of sit back and cross your fingers and hope that there's nothing in any of those that's gonna, kind of affect that reputation at all. And for the most part, you never, there's so much great video coverage of those races now that it seems like all this stuff gets picked up on, and things are kind of getting, hopefully getting deterred from that. But yeah, that is one of those that when you see all this stuff coming forward, you're like, oh, all right, I hope there's not going to be any more controversy really in the race world, because it just kind of sucks to see people going out and giving everything they got at a sport that's not very forgiving, and seeing something like that where it's not really the place for it. And luckily, I would say the integrity in the running world is extremely high. So you don't really think about that stuff too often. But there's money involved. There's always going to be somebody somewhere thinking about how they can get it. So hopefully they keep that at bay as much as possible in the running world.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving on from there, Trey's been pretty active in the Berkeley Park Running Company runs, and they recently had a pretty big name guest at Run Club. Trey, you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so I got just a couple of random. I'm just looking at all this stuff, I guess. Um, I'll talk a little bit about, I guess, the Q&A stuff first, and then just kind of do the gear dump. But so yeah, so Mr. Garland was there, the director for the Hard Rock, and I just can't say enough about him as a person. As far as like, I met him and had a 30-second conversation with him, but it was, I mean, there had to be. I put it this way: I'm glad the fire marshal wasn't there, because I mean, there had to be 100 and some people. It was awesome to see. It was an amazing, crazy, crazy group run. So we actually had to, for the sake of the park, and like we didn't want to be like just kind of overrunning the park and the trail system. We actually did group runs in shifts. We were going and we were leaving in groups of like 20 to 30, breaking it up and running in shifts of, and so kind of cut it off at the crosswalk, and then another group would go and another group would go. And this was their Hard Rock party, where basically a lot of representatives from the Hard Rock, including the director, but there was like a lot of the members of their board or of their team. They had their North Face representative was there, talking about a lot of really, really great things they're doing with trail running right now. And their head of volunteers was there. That was awesome. That was honestly one of the coolest parts of the Q&A. We talked so much about putting on a race or what goes into a race that stuff just gets so interesting. And what I would say standout fact above all else, their ratio of volunteers to runners is 1-to-1.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's a volunteer per runner for the Hard Rock, which is unreal. Like, to me, that is unbelievable. And I was totally mind blown when I heard that. And it was so cool to see and hear and get to ask these questions, and kind of the perspective of everybody. That's several people that have run it, some people that have completed it in that room, some people that have tried it and were like, yeah, it just demolished me. Some people that are continuously applying. And there's one guy there that as you volunteer, you build up your points in the lottery system, and I think he's got like, they basically said, he's doing it this year. And they said, yeah, there wasn't really a lottery system for him. He had built up so many points. It was a guarantee. So it was cool to see, to be in a room full of people that are that dedicated and have been around for that long and helped with that race so much that um, it was pretty surreal to just kind of see how all that stuff works. And um, I have my piece of paper because I was just kind of taking some notes on it. But um, yeah, I think, so we did the run and they did the drawings, and how they did it, they would just kind of draw and they gave away a bunch of stuff. And then in between every 5 or 6 things, Dale would just kind of get up again and just say, hey, who has questions, and they'd answer 2, 3, 4 questions, and then we go back and draw some more. So it was really, really great. Great to see kind of the involvement and keeping people there to kind of ask those fun questions. And um, he talked a lot about like the golden hour, which is that last hour, where he said it was probably his favorite thing about, one of his favorite things, if not the favorite thing about that race, is that their turnout and the amount of people that come to cheer in that last hour is substantially more than any other time in the race, because everybody that's ever been a part of it or seen it has like knows that last hour is like the absolute triumph, or like the total defeat that you can feel if you're if you're still on the course when that hour ends. And so that's essentially, it's the last hour of the race. And Dale had this great story about they had someone finish at the essentially at the hour mark, exactly on the hour. The race is done. It's a DNF, and they had someone finish at 59 minutes 59 second and cross the line. It's the latest finisher they've ever had, but it was at the 59 second of the last minute. And he kind of almost got like, there was like so much emotion behind that story, because it means so much to him to see what that race does for other people and what it does for the community. So they had a great session talking about kind of their philanthropic efforts, where kind of where their donation money's going and what that looks like. And that's kind of the dream, to be able to run a race so successfully that you get to give money away to help the running world even more, which is really rad. So but I was lucky enough to just stop him for a second and introduce myself and just tell him like, hey, my friends and I, we have our running podcasts and running company, and buddy of mine has put on a couple of 5Ks, and we just kind of keep looking to expand that. And so we just really look up to what you guys do at the Hard Rock, and it's just really cool to see, what that all looks like, and the logistical nightmare that is, 100-mile race. And he stopped completely. I mean, he was running around like a chicken with his head cut off, and he just stopped completely. And he just shook my hand, and he's like, man, it's great to talk to you. I really appreciate that. And I didn't even ask. He offered. He was like, oh, if you got any questions, like pick my brain, and I made the comment, we'd love to have you on for an interview or talk to you about it. And so he grabs a piece of paper and he writes down all his info and hands it over. And he's like, yeah, just email me or text me. Like, my phone number's on there, my email's on there. And just such a genuine guy, such a cool experience to just be around someone who's had so much success in an industry and in a world, I guess, in a world that we, love to follow and love to see kind of exploding how it is. So yeah, it was so freaking cool to just meet another super genuine success story in the ultra running world. And as a director, so we spend so much time talking about runners and doing the runners drafts, and it's really cool to sit back and talk to somebody who sees a race like that from the start to the finish, and the entire week before, and all the volunteers are there, and the week after week to 10 days after of getting everything completely put back together, put back together or torn down or whatever. And so, yeah, you know, I could probably ramble on about it forever, but it was really, honestly, it was amazing. It was so freaking cool. And to look around the room and see 120, 130 other runners there, just completely like, you know, fixated on this and just loving every minute of it. It was a very cool experience. And that day also happened to be my birthday, so it was like that was a great birthday present to be able to go to run club and have such a special run club. So yeah, so it was pretty surreal. Um, and then that's kind of I don't know. You guys got any questions or comments on that? I don't want to keep going. I could ramble on that forever. It was just so cool to see that. But
Um, well, yeah, I just wanted to say, I mean, there's a few things, but the main thing I was going to say is why I love running so much is the genuine connection between people, like, so here I am, like, my first thought is like, wow, I can't imagine running with 100 people because I'm so used to, like, I see one runner and I'm like, there's my people, like I don't see people like that too often in, this town of Anaconda. It's different. Missoula, totally different story, but here, you know, so I try to put my mind in that like perspective. It's crazy, but then just what you're saying, there's such that it's such a common theme. I feel like of just a genuine that connection and help so many runners are just in the world of running. And I just, yeah, that was really cool to listen to. I feel like I got enough of it from even just this little 8 minute spill, and I wasn't even there.
Yeah, I feel the same way, Ray. And it's just like you said, the community of running is like so amazing. And the first thing I thought of is like, oh, he's probably a runner himself because he probably he it seems like he understands if because obviously if he's not a runner, he has a great appreciation for the sport. Obviously, being the director of one of the more famous ultras, but just running has a way of bringing people together more than well, I can't say more, but in a different way than other sports. So it's cool to now we have another tool in our tool chest as as we look to put on races in the future and improve things for the Dickinson Running Club or the Strike Twice Running Company. We have now an amazing resource, and having a name like that is amazing. We're not doing this to be famous. I think our last YouTube video got like 11 views, and we're like, hell yeah, we're doing it. So we're not
Double
out to
digit.
get famous. We're not gonna get him on our podcast just to get views. That's not what it's about. It's about for one us gaining information, um, to be better and learn more about the sport and appreciate it, as well as hopefully you guys can get something from it too. So that's the biggest thing for us is expanding our community of running and our group of people. So um, look forward to that. I know Trey, you were talking about it's his busy season.
yeah,
Next 2 months he's pretty busy, but maybe this fall or later summer we can get him on and definitely
yeah,
pick his brain about all things ultra running. So, I mean, what an awesome opportunity. I mean, that running company down there really has some good things going for it, and the ability to bring in big names like that, as well as bring in product demos and stuff like that, and leading that into. I think we talked about it on the podcast that you were awarded a free pair of Hokas, and you want to show those off?
yeah. So speaking of product demos, I actually ran in a pair of ultras that day. Um, on my birthday on demo day, I ran in some ultras just because I love the toe box that they have on those. That's so much wider and just allows you to. I I've become too accustomed to running poorly with like I have such a terrible heel strike and I'm just refusing to fix it. And so I just think I'm going to be in Hocus forever. But the ultras really forced me to be a little bit farther on my forefoot and kept me kind of forward. Like my posture, I felt my posture getting a little bit more like worn because I was in a different posture running. It was really awesome to feel like what a different shoe will do for you, and so that was fun just because it's gear, so it's fun. Um, so yeah, they definitely it was cool. It swung me a little bit, but I think I'm still on the Hoka train. But um, yes, these ones just came in, um, and I'm wondering. Yeah, I just got those ones. Okay, it is the 5. So yeah, the Speed Goat 5.
Those are good looking.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I thought they were pretty dang sweet.
Yeah.
You can see by the cardboard they're fresh in the box. So yeah, I just yeah, got a hold of them I think last week maybe, and uh I can't wait to get out and get into some trail runs and stuff, but they're so friggin' sweet, and like um the guys over at Hoka were so quick with it, and just kind of emailed me and said, "Hey, whatever shoe you want, whatever style, whatever color, as long as it's in stock on the website, just email me." And I emailed him, and that same day he's like, "Okay, they'll be there, next week or whatever." And they were on my doorstep, so I think I ordered them on like the 3rd, and they were here by like the 8th or 9th, and they just sent them right over. So it was pretty dang sweet. And then that was the week. That was the week prior. And then the day of my birthday, the day that Dale Garland was there, they did another giveaway. And this is, like I said, Ray always is on my case, and he's like, "We're just going to enter in everything from here on out." So taking your advice, Ray, I did enter. I've started just entering in everything that I walk by if you can win something. So this time next year, if I win a Toyota Tacoma from the Rockies, you'll know that you were part of that decision. So um, first is just one of their big sponsors was they basically gave away bags during the drawing that were a lot of their sponsorship stuff. So Tailwind is a big sponsor there, which is awesome, out of Durango. And I know Hunter and I have talked about that quite a bit in the past, and have used it quite a bit in the past, and it freaking rocks. Um, they just put out some new stuff, Hunter, that I would advise you definitely look into. That's really, really rad. Um, and was a great like recovery stuff. Some stuff there. So yeah, great. Just kind of headband, neck gaiter sort of thing from Tailwind. Um, and then literally this whole bag is just supplement stuff, gels and goos and mixes, and it's about half the bag is completely stacked with that.
Are those
Um,
are those the spring energy gels?
So there are, so there's kind of so there's the spring energy gel, spring energy gels, the rapid hydration from Tailwind is really sweet. And they have like, holy crap, we had um, basically every flavor that they make. They ended up just dropping a bucket. They dropped it was like a 10-gallon tote on the ground, and they're like, "Yeah, just take as much as you want." Like, and every person in there, like over 100 people walked up, and I'm like just a handful. Some people took like 2 handfuls and walked out. They still had stuff left when everyone was gone. So they came to play. They came to give away some stuff, which was really cool because that stuff adds up quick, and it's really, I think from their point of view, they kind of see too that it's really hard to get people to try anything food, drink, or gel related when you're running, because it takes so long to find that right balance that you never want to screw it up by trying something new. And so it's kind of, some people are really weary about it. Um, so yeah, it was cool to see them just huffing stuff. They're like, "Yeah, take it, dude. Go, go run and drink and eat and be happy." So that was pretty cool. And then Smartwool is another huge sponsor of theirs. So these great, like really cool mountain scene. Smartwool socks. We got one, two, three, four pairs of those. Um, and Smartwool is like, I was
It's
stoked on that, man.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
yeah,
So these are actually also the athlete edition. So Rob Carr, who is actually the designer that, or he's the runner that worked with Nathan to do the pack that we have.
Mm.
I don't
mhm.
know if you've noticed, but his name is on the back.
Yeah,
We worked with him. Smartwell worked with him to do these socks too. It looks like so. Yeah, built with endurance runner Rob Carr. So kind of cool because I already know that his pack is freaking perfect. Like his, so yeah, four of those. I was super stoked on that.
yeah,
Um, a so um this one was cool because I was like, oh, it's just a flyer, but it's actually a um a set of gaiters. So you just go on and email him and a new set of gaiters, running gaiters for trail running.
huh,
That was really cool. Um, really sweet North Face bandana, kind of a topo map, um, headband bandana. Um, two Nathan running bottles. So
nice.
these are the hand strap ones with the small pocket. Um, and so yeah, they're looks like yeah 18 ounce.
Hmm.
These things are freaking great uh, for just like those like 7-8 mile runs when it's really hot in the summer and you don't want to take a pack with you. They're super good. So I was really pumped about those. And then obviously I am a hat fiend, so anytime I can get a free hat, I'm all about it. So we have the North Face, this
Oh,
North Face one, super rad.
yeah,
That one running a handful of times, and then this really cool Tailwind one with the vented back, and it's got kind of like the athletic Velcro adjustable strap, the doubled over one. So yeah, that was it. So it was
just
it was a good day. It was a good couple of days. I lucked out for sure. I actually my number got drawn twice. I had two tickets, one for Emery and one for myself, and she was taking the dog outside to go get a drink of water, and they called hers, and they gave away a pair of shoes from Ultra as well, and then a really cool running pack. And I was like, I already have a really cool pack, and I already want a pair of shoes, so I'll stick with the bag. So, I want somebody else to be able to get that stuff that's going to use it right off the bat. So, uh, yeah, there's my people are going to be tired of hearing me talk by the end of this episode, but there's all that stuff.
I mean, what an awesome opportunity, not only for runners that are, because running gets expensive. We discussed that a little bit. And so anytime runners can get their hands on goos and gels and water bottles and anything is amazing. But the first thing that came to mind is if you're new to the running community and you're like, oh, I think I'm going to try this running club that I heard of. And the first day you show up, they're giving away all this amazing stuff. Like, what a good way, to this is going to sound goofy, but sucker people into running. I mean, it's a perfect sell because you have such a good group to run with, but as well as you're so connected in the gear world that you can hook them up with free gear, and everybody loves free stuff, and runners probably especially dig free stuff. So uh, I'm definitely a little jealous, especially the Smart Wool socks, because I'm kind of gearing up and prepping my stuff for the Monterey, and I need about 5 more pairs of socks, I think, and Smart Wool. Between Smart Wool and Stance socks, I like Smart Wool a lot, so I'm gonna be buying a couple pairs of them soon. So I'm jealous that you got what did you get? 4 pairs of them for free?
Yeah, I've used them. I always used them growing up, like snowboarding and skiing.
Oh yeah.
I had never thought about using them in running, and um, but they have such great like compression and just kind of keep your blood flowing, and everything. So I always loved them skiing and snowboarding and had never thought about it in the running world. And then when I saw those, I realized like I didn't even know that they were such a big sponsor of the Hard Rock and kind of are such, really involved in that in the world and everything. So it was cool to see. And yeah, there were two other running clubs there. They came from running clubs from elsewhere. One in Arvada, where our good friend Ernie Ray, our good friend Ernie is from Arvada, and I'd be willing to bet it's probably run with those guys a time or two. And then another great group from out in Golden, I believe, possibly, but they were a trail running group, and so they run some trails out in Golden on Tuesdays, um, and yeah, everybody just kind of came together, and it was like a mashup of three running clubs and the Hard Rock group and some ultra guys and some Hoka guys and everyone else that just saw like what the hell's going on over there and just kind of pulled up and 100% like you said, like you walk in and you see a 10-foot table with like gift bags and all this cool stuff and a running pack and all that. It's like I could probably stick around. I could probably go for a little run and hang around. Like I'll try my luck. And um, but they had to have given away 30 bags and a running pack and some shoes and
Dang.
they gave away a lot of stuff, and that's each one of those bags had so we ended up with 2 bags. So basically everything I showed you is a duplicate. So every bag had the 2 pairs of socks, and that's how we ended up with the 4. But that's crazy. Like that is such a huge amount. So it's yeah, really cool to see the world, the running world getting so much more established that sponsors can do stuff like this and really kind of keep building that base. And um, yeah, they were getting people volunteering to work the Hard Rock while we were standing there. Um, so really cool stuff to kind of see and be a part of. So
Yeah, you just have to enter every drawing you go if they have one. Because I swear to you, you're on a kick. You're it's been a lot in a year that I'm aware of anyways.
I I said it after I got the Hokas, but I'll say it again. I think I used up my luck for the year, and it's only April, so I think I used it up. I think we're good there.
Yeah. That's awesome though.
Well, speaking of gear, Strike Twice Running Company is also working its way into the gear world. Ray's got some new gear that we're super excited to show off that we haven't even seen in person yet, Trey. So you
Yeah.
take it from here.
Right.
We got some hats. We got 2 different like designs coming. I don't know if we can see them that great, but yeah, I don't know. They look pretty cool, I thought.
So yeah, Ray, kind of tell them about kind of the journey to get that done because you were kind of you would just be texting us and we were like, everything you're doing is great. You're perfect, Ray. Just keep going, brother, because we just weren't there. Like we're so far away, and so I kind of just want to
Well,
hear your end of it.
yeah, I mean, well, the first thing is these hats are from last April, I think, is when I had them in my house, April 2023.
Way before that.
Well, that's true. You had them before that.
I
Yeah,
have, I think we bought them in December of 22.
it it would have been December of 22.
The shipping label's still on here. Maybe it says.
December of
Uh,
22.
yeah, it might have been December 22, actually.
I
It
think
doesn't say.
thought that's when we ordered them. I have the receipt around here somewhere, but
I swear, because
Yeah,
I was still in Dickinson and it was cold as hell. So
yeah, that's true. That's so I got them in my house of April of last year. And then, I contacted Paul Thomas is in Butte, which great dude. Um, like May of last year, and then it just I mean, it just went nowhere. Like I talked to him once, the embroidery guy was on vacation, and then they just sat in my house for close to a year. And I looked at this box so many times over the past few months, just like, oh gosh, it's still there. I need to do something about this. And then whatever, then I go to bed, I'm like, oh, it's still there. Like I just had this like constant cycle of like, yeah, that hat, there's that box. And it's, it sticks out like it's a decent sized box of just empty hats. So I just finally, I don't know what got me to do it, but I think it was after St. Patrick's Day race when I was talking with Hunter, and it's like, yeah, I really need to do something about those hats. um, yeah, so I just brought it over. Didn't really even tell you guys. I just sent you a text, like, so we got, you know, it's going on. Hope you're okay with this because I gave him the hats, and we're gonna have like, and it's a really random number too. It's like 38 hats. It's a weird. I don't know how we ordered 45 and I had a box of 38.
Oh,
Yeah.
There's
I think we had some sacrifices. There was some there were some ups and downs. We had some trial runs that didn't quite work. All right, that's just part of it. That's
yeah,
just.
I don't even know what happened to those ones. Do those ones still exist?
I hope they don't.
yeah,
I
they
don't know.
do. They were in the box,
Oh,
I
If I
think.
remember correctly, at one point, did we try to stitch someone? I hope not, because they didn't look good. I don't remember.
it was like a friend. It was a friend's mom who was dabbling in embroidery, and we had her sew a couple on, and um, no knocks to her. She did the best that she could, but we'll leave something like that to professionals.
Well, I think what ended up happening too that we are realizing now is that we gave her apparently, which what Ray is telling us is like one of the harder hats to deal with as far as like embroidery period, but sewing, we actually gave her the terrible job of sewing patches that don't fit the hat onto the hat. And they were so bad that when Ray took them into Butte, they said, you don't want to do that. They're going to look absolutely terrible no matter what you do. Let us just do the digital copy and we'll just embroider them. And so I felt so bad. I've been wanting to like, we should text her or something and be like, thank you again for putting up with those because the 6 or 7 that she had to deal with, I remember she even made the comment, she's like, I'm sorry, like they didn't turn out good and whatever. And we were like, dude, you're good. Like we can't get them on there at all. So like, so I remember, again, yeah, shout out to her for just putting up with them to begin with.
Yeah, because we had the idea of, because when we were first starting, we had the idea of, oh, let's just order stickers and patches, and then we can sell the patches, we can put the patches on hats, whatever. And as Trey was saying, and Ray told us earlier, putting these on hats just is not that easy. And Ray was even saying, for the position of the patch, they're on the sides of the hats, because he was saying that the needle can actually get broken on that middle seam of the hat. So we're learning all this, and we found out that patches weren't the best choice for the hats. So on that note, we have patches for sale. um, if anybody's interested, we'll probably just send them out to you guys if anybody's interested. And we also have the stickers in the same two designs, which are amazing. Let's see, I don't have it on this water bottle. That's a shame. I have it on like every other water bottle that I own, but we all got some stickers. There's one right there. But amazing stickers. So there's our two designs. We got kind of our shield design and our stopwatch design. We had one of our good friends in Dickinson, Sarah Selly, make those. We kind of had some ideas, like we did some drawing sessions, and we were coming up with some really good things, I thought. But again, the moral of those stories is leave the graphic designing to the experts and leave the embroidery to the experts. So we've finally done that, and we got some good little products out there. So let us know if you guys are interested. We're gonna start getting those out there, and hopefully Ray's first shipment goes to me and Trey because I want to.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, I was gonna say, like, I mean, I thought about it, like, it's a for the size of this hat, I mean, it's like, not like huge, but the amount of detail in that thing, it's impressive. Like, no wonder she had such a hard time. And I know this is different because she was just doing a patch, but like, that's what I don't know. I'm amazed with like what they were able to do for how good it looks. And I don't know which one I like better at the moment. I like the shield one because I think the color looks good with like this dark, but I also just like the stopwatch. So I don't know. I'm torn. But yeah.
Yeah, I think we've, to that note, as we've been saying, like uh the overarching theme is that we have been helped by we are getting a lot of outside help from a lot of people, and it's been really, really, it's been a blessing. It's been really cool to see, and we appreciate it. And we're just gonna keep on trucking and see what the next problem we're gonna run into. Deal with that when it comes, I guess. So, Ray,
Yeah.
I didn't know. I feel terrible that 38 hats was just running your life. I didn't know that it's just all those days at Cornhole League, your mind was somewhere else.
That's why. Yeah. I'm just that type of person. Like when there's just something sitting there that I could like do and I don't do it. Like I saw that box. I covered it even intentionally so I didn't see that box in my room every time. Ugh.
Then you
So
get
yeah.
then you're getting texts from me just about you built up all right, I have a game plan, I'm gonna do it. And then I text you, I'm like, hey, do you want to go play some badminton? It's really nice out. And you're like, there goes the rest of the night. Day's over.
Yeah, sure.
Well, it's kind of like our podcast too. We filmed a couple episodes right off the bat, and then we took like a 6, 8, 9, 10 month hiatus, you know. But
Yeah.
we're getting there. We're slowly we got stickers now, we got patches, we got hats slowly kind of starting to trickle in, and we're being
Yeah.
more consistent on our podcasting. So we're slowly kind of picking up, and we'll continue to get our 11 views a week, and everybody will be happy.
Yeah.
Hey, man, if it's 11 different people every week, 3 weeks we'll be out of hats. So get them while you can, man.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, no kidding.
So comment down below if you guys are interested in that stuff. I'm sure we're not gonna be charging a whole lot, just enough to probably get our money back. And stickers and stuff we'll probably just send out to you guys. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I mean, we paid for them a year and a half ago, so I don't even know what they're worth anymore. But yeah, just let us know if you guys are interested. We'll work out the details. Um, and I mean, that's about all I have. Do you guys have anything else for this episode?
No, it's a good one. Like usual.
Yeah, that's all I got.
One thing I forgot to mention right at the beginning, we are on episode number 15 now. I don't think I mentioned that at the beginning, but a couple episodes back, I was way off on our count. And so officially we're on 15, and episode number 16 is coming at you next. So we appreciate everything. Again, it's an awesome opportunity for us to get together and talk about our favorite thing in the world. And yeah, hopefully in the fall we'll have the race director for the Hard Rock 100 on, which would be fantastic. So with that, this is a Strike Twice Running podcast, and we'll see you guys next time.
Cheers.
Yeah.